Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. Today we'll be reviewing the first test match between Pakistan and South Africa. South Africa going back to Pakistan after a gap of 13 years. And it didn't go very well. It didn't go to plan for them at all. 220 all out. And then just when they were starting to look good at 33 for 4 at the end of day one, day two comes along and Fawad Alam, along with the help of Azhar Ali, Mohammad Rizwan, and Fahim Ashraf, takes Pakistan to a commanding position at this point in time. A good almost 100-run lead, I think it was 88-run lead with 3 days left and looking good for Pakistan, not so much for South Africa. Your thoughts, Musti,
Yeah,
so
I
far
think
in this game?
advantage Pakistan. I felt that initially on day one, I think South Africa batted really poorly. There weren't that many demons in the pitch. I felt that they got in, they were set, and then they threw away their wickets. And there was a couple of runouts there as well. Van der Dusen against
Yep.
the run of play, Bavuma as well. So some runouts there. Then you saw Quinton de Kock shot like a shortish ball. He tried to pull it, he got caught. I think apart from maybe a couple of deliveries here and there, I think Faf got a good delivery and Markram as well by Shaheen Afridi, and I think Faf was Yasser Shah. Apart from the few deliveries here and there, a lot of the wickets were thrown away. So I was disappointed with the way they batted. I felt 300 was on the cards. And I think, batting first, winning the toss, batting first on a Karachi pitch, you need 300 plus. But having said that, they started amazing with the ball. 33 for 4. Advantage Australia, South Africa, sorry, going into day two. But then, man, this Fawad Alam, he's made of something else. Like the mental strength is just immense, bro. He's 35 years old now. He
Yeah.
missed 10 or 11 years of cricket,
I think
and
2009 was the last time he played Test cricket, and then he played only recently. So
yeah, and he was averaging like 60, 70 in the domestic season while this was happening. Imagine someone like in the Ranji Trophy or like in the Sheffield Shield averaging that much. He's gonna play, man. And they were talking about the reason why he didn't get selected and stuff, his stance and everything. Haven't you seen Chandrapal? He's also had an awkward stance, so I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
If you can score runs, it doesn't matter how you score it, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and he has been consistent. It's not like he was performing poorly in the domestic season. I mean, he could have easily gotten into this team. Pakistan, we've known over the past few years they've had struggles with the bat, and he would have been a perfect middle order batsman for them. And it's unfortunate, sometimes I don't know what selectors think and what kind of decisions they make, but losing out on such talent for a few years is unfortunate. But it's better late than never. At least now he's able to come through, and he
Definitely.
was, yeah.
And
Even
he
last
can
series he
tell,
scored a century.
he'll be a story for kids, like never give up. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's a lot of people in India as well, in Pakistan. They struggle, they try to get into the team, they don't make it. But here is a man who didn't he was the best player in the domestic circuit. It's not even though he was like consistent performance or anything, he was the best, like averaging around between 50 and 70. That's just unbelievable, right?
yeah,
For like 10
absolutely.
years consistently, like for a long time. So he's the best player domestically, and still he didn't get selected. So is a very good example for kids. Like, no matter what happens, you just need to keep going, and you will be rewarded. If you're performing, one day you will be rewarded. And like he showed patience, and it's paid off now.
Absolutely. I think there are only a few people that can say this kind of a situation. A name, Subramanian Badrinath, comes to mind when you think about
Wow, I
some of the
forgot about him.
Indian
Yeah, yeah.
stalwarts who've done very well, but unfortunately were never able to get a chance. So some people like that you think about, and it's unfortunate. But luckily for Fawad Alam, it's better late than never. Yes, he
Hmm.
has only a little bit of cricket left in him, but he can capitalize on the next couple of years and score some good runs for Pakistan cricket. So
Yeah.
he's a solid middle order batsman, and he's provided that kind of advantage situation now for
For
Pakistan. And
Pakistan, yeah. To be honest
uh,
with you, sorry to cut you off there, but to be honest with you, I was more happy for him when he played in New Zealand, because
yeah,
those are tougher conditions,
tougher
and that's where
conditions.
I think that was the last time he was playing for Pakistan, like 10 years ago, was in New Zealand, and like it was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and he had a poor run and he was dropped. But then he came back, scored 100 in tough conditions. Over here, I had a feeling he's gonna score 100. He's just such a good player, and this is his home track, hometown. If he can do it in domestic, he can do it here as well. Like he's been there, done that. He's very experienced, so I think yeah, credit to him. Set up the
Absolutely,
game.
I think, yep, very very well done. And this 88 runs will be huge for Pakistan.
Yeah.
Unlikely that they may score too many more, just a few here and there, depending, because now just the last couple of batsmen left. The tails,
That's
unless
always
the tail
the
wags,
irritating part for the
yeah,
bowling team. Always it.
unless the tail wags way too much, but we'll see how that goes. But looking into
Hmm.
day three, I think South Africa need to get their batsmen together, and really try to get this game into day four, and try to get those I mean, try to as much as they possibly can. You try and get a little bit of a score that they can bowl Pakistan at. I mean, day five on a spinning track could be a little bit tricky. So I mean, they want to get a few runs on the board just to have some kind of defense against this Pakistan team who's looking good right now.
Yeah, I think they need at least 300 to 350 runs, like around that time. If they can get that, I think they can compete, because if you're setting a target of 250, 300 going to day five,
Yeah,
it will be tricky for Pakistan to chase. But anything below that, I think Pakistan will chase it. They're used to the conditions. They know exactly how the pitch is going to behave. South Africa, they have the batsmen. They can do it, right? It's
yeah,
just applying themselves. And once you're set, you can't throw away your wicket. I felt what they did in the first innings was criminal. Like can't throw away the wicket after all these players were set. Like
yeah,
from the start, from Elgar, even Markram hit a few boundaries before
yeah.
he got out. Then Faf and De Kock and Bavuma, so they're all set. So like once you're set, you need to make it count. And that's how Azhar Ali and Fawad Alam to a greater extent. That's what he did. So you
Yeah,
need at
and
least one
Parish too.
player. Yeah, so I'm expecting something from Faf, but I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be tricky. I think playing against Yasir Shah in the third innings won't be that easy.
Yeah.
So how they play him will depend on South Africa's outcome in the third innings.
Yeah. And apart from Faf, I think Dean Elgar also is an important player because he
Yes,
plays spin
100%.
well and he's a solid player up top. So I think if
Hmm.
both of them can really get it together and get those big scores, that's the hope that South Africa will be looking at to create that 250. I think a 250 score would probably be the minimal that they require
Yeah,
going
it'll
into
set
at
up the game
least.
nicely if they can get post that kind of target.
Absolutely, I think, and give them a little bit on day four and a decent amount of time on day five to kind of try and bowl this Pakistan side out. And they have some decent bowlers in Maharaj, Rabada, Naughty, who've been bowling well.
Hmm.
So hopefully, they can use those demons in the pitch and try to get these Pakistani guys knocked out.
Yeah, and I think even Van der Dusen, we didn't see him in the first innings. He got run out, but
Yeah,
I've seen him quite a bit, and I think he's a very talented batsman. So if he can also one down, like build a good innings, I think it'll be great for South Africa. But also, I think a difference also, the South African spinners were a tad short. I think also they both left arm orthodox. It's a bit more like similar. Whereas Yasir Shah and then you have Noman Ali, the 34-year-old
yeah,
debutant. They're different.
yeah,
One is left arm, and one is a leg spinner. So I think that was kind of repetitive from South Africa,
but
and they're
yeah.
bowling a tad short as well.
Yeah, for sure, that shot. But I think the issue with South African spinners is that they all left-handed,
Yeah,
because even
Shamsi as well.
Shamsi is left-handed. He
But then
picked up a
Shamsi
knock,
will
I
at least
believe.
spin it the other way.
The other way, fair enough, yeah.
So
But all left arm spinners, so it's
yeah,
actually an interesting. I just realized that,
yeah.
quite interesting. But yeah, definitely they'll need to improve from what they've done in
Hmm.
day two, and try to like rectify those mistakes and try to bowl a little bit more fuller to kind of get that extra little bit of purchase and get those wickets quicker.
Yeah,
But I think advantage Pakistan definitely
100%.
going to day three, but you never say never. I mean, if
Yeah,
anyone, we're coming off of a good win, so it's
yeah.
just on the back of my mind.
Test
So
cricket has taught us a lot, so you can never say never.
yeah,
I
and
I
never
sat
fails
there
to
and
surprise you.
I sat there every day of that in India Australia Test series, and like Australia advantage, Australia advantage, Australia, and then the end of the day something else happened. So
Yeah,
you can never say never, but like in these kind of, I think this game is poised well for Pakistan. Fawad Alam set it up, and yeah, let's see how it goes from here, because I think Yasir Shah will be key. If he can pick up wickets, then South Africa will be in trouble. If they can stave him off a bit, like dry up the wickets from one end, then they can put pressure on the faster bowlers. We've seen the likes of Hassan Ali. He's been a bit erratic since he's come back as well. So if you can like stave off Yasir Shah a bit, then it'll ease the pressure for South Africa.
absolutely. And most importantly, just before we get going, I think the most important thing with 88 run lead, they won't want to give more than 100 runs lead. If
Yeah.
these lower order batsmen try and nick a few here and there and get some odd boundaries here and there, suddenly it becomes 130, 140 run lead. That will be really
That's
really annoying
every
for them.
possibility, to be honest. If Hassan Ali starts
Absolutely, it's
swinging
happened.
here and there, and
Yeah, it's
anything can edges going to boundaries. We've seen it as Indian fans. We've seen it all. It's happened to India so many times. So it can happen. But you're right. I think they need to wrap it up as quickly as possible. Ideally under 100, because
yeah,
it's 88 right now. If not, then ideally like 101, 102, like around that
yeah.
kind of total.
Absolutely. I think that's very key, because that will become that 30 40 run
100%.
bounce could be very big, if it goes to that, So yeah, looking forward. South Africa have their work cut out for them,
Yeah.
and Pakistan just need to be continuing to do what they're doing, sort of. So as long if they can do what they've been doing in day 1 and 2, I think they'll be okay for the rest of the test match.
No, for sure. Completely agree with you.
I think that wraps it up. Looking forward to the rest of the game. Catch you right after.
For sure. Thank you so much, man.
Yep.